Adam, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me on.
No. Thank you for being here. Problem is now I've got to try and interview you, and I interviewed you at length in my studio about 12 months ago. So, what's been going on in your life?
Well, we always seem to get technical glitches whenever we meet up. I'm not sure why.
The thing is, right, I always get blamed for that as well. And the worst thing of it is yesterday we hooked up for about an hour and a half yesterday.
And it was perfect.
And it was absolutely perfect. Let me just make sure. I'm just going to go on YouTube and just double check myself and make sure it's fine. Tony, if it's Tony's keeping an eye on things in real world time. If anything's happening that I should know about, please let me know. Right, okay. So let's assume that we are live. Right, where do we start? Bloomin' heck. What's been going on in your world over the past 12 months?
12 months? How about the last few weeks?
Zoom, I'm just let you go now.
Well, actually, considering I'm not really working right now, I've been busier than ever, which is really odd. But that's just the way it is. Actually, in British Columbia, it hasn't been too bad, especially on the island. We have the same restrictions as everybody else, but we're able to still go and do our own thing, except for the provincial parks and the national parks are all closed, so that does limit the photography a little bit. But I can't really complain too much. I should be in Scotland right now, but instead I'm spending my time on Vancouver Island, which isn't a bad thing. So, and my mum and dad, they live right next door to us. My parents are they're in their 80s, so I've been kind of doing their shopping and stuff like that. So, because I'd rather they don't go to the shops, my partner and I, Karen, have been doing their shopping and trying to do errands for them so that they don't have to go out and.
So are you guys, without stating, you're obviously in Canada, still observing the minimal distance or distancing rules and regulations, the 2 feet, 2 meters apart, whatever it is?
Oh yes, most definitely. I think in Canada, and well, on the West Coast, it seems to be working. Ontario and Quebec, they've had it worse than most provinces, but they have more population. It's kind of like the UK. You guys have such a huge population that you can't help but have all those people crammed close together. Whereas on the island here, we're pretty spread out. So obviously it's probably not going to be quite as bad. But people are getting frustrated. But they just have to be patient. It could be worse. And some people have got it really bad, so I think I'm really lucky to live where we live, definitely.
You said on your video before last that you camped out overnight in your van and the police came. Do you think they came as a result of the kind of lockdown and the restrictions, or did they just think you were some kind of pikey?
I'm not sure. That was really odd because honestly, I was in the middle of nowhere, and I was right next to it's really weird. There's a golf course that's kind of out in the woods.
You said,
there's a little village there, and it could have been the groundskeeper. Might have thought I was doing something suspicious back there. People do go back into the wilderness and do some pretty crazy stuff. They sabotage logging equipment, steal stuff, dump their garbage, the usual. You get people go in there with their firearms and get drunk and just do stupid things. So, they could have maybe thought I was doing something like that. It was really weird. I was just sitting there actually watching a movie on my phone, and all of a sudden these 2 cops pulled up in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, whoa, that's weird.
Was it that?
Hey?
Was it like that? Oh, God, sorry. Let me just explain. For you guys at home, you guys can see Adam and you can see myself. I can obviously I can see Adam from this side, but Adam can't see me. Sorry, Adam. I'm doing a show.
No, there's like and I'm watching you on YouTube, and it's like a minute delay. It's bizarre.
Oh no, it's really, really confusing. Sorry about that. Yeah, I had to remind myself then the fact that you can't actually see me in real time. All right, cool.
No.
Yeah, I mean, generally what happens is with situations like that is generally somebody rings the police. Like you said, the chances of the police just happening to pass you by when you're in the middle of nowhere, it just means that somebody's obviously called them, haven't they, really? I suppose.
Yeah, and I think I mean one of the police officers was actually a native guy, and there are native communities in those areas, and a lot of the native communities, they don't want anybody in their communities because obviously when you're in a small community and if someone gets sick, then it's really hard to, if you don't have facilities to look after the sick, then they've got to fly them all the way to Victoria or Nanaimo, which is miles away. And actually, some little villages and that actually closed the roads off, so people couldn't go into those areas because they just don't want people going in there, which is fair enough. I don't blame them. So I don't know. Anyway, it was just a bit of a surprise. I mean, it was no big deal for me. I mean, I wasn't doing anything mischievous, so I had nothing to hide.
Sure. We've got a big problem in the UK with fly tipping right now. Fly tipping is horrendous because all the tips.
They charge money, right?
Well, not so much they charge money, but they've all been closed. So throughout the whole pandemic, they've all been closed. But I think as of tomorrow, they're all opening throughout the whole of the UK. But I think their hand has been forced because of the problem of people fly tipping, because it is a horrible thing, isn't it?
Well, then, yeah, because it leaves the community, they have to deal with all that garbage, and it costs them a lot of money, and then the taxpayers end up paying for it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's the same here. It's so hard to dump some stuff like drywall is a big problem now. It has to be tested, and they make it so hard for people to get rid of certain things that they just builders are just out to hell with it. They just can't be bothered, so they'll go and dump it in the woods. Which is not good either. So because let's face it, that they're doing everything on the cheap to start with. They want to make as much money as possible with their projects. So if they can cut corners, they will. And unfortunately, it usually ends up in the woods.
But you're actually back out vlogging again now, then?
I have been I haven't stopped. I've just been visiting local areas, and lately I've been spending a lot of time in the woods because it's way out in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody around, so it's great. I am running out of areas to go though. I mean, Vancouver Island is a very large area, but it's pretty much is a lot of the same thing. We have a lot of trees and streams, but they all dry up by June.
Sure.
And the coastline, some of the coastline is beautiful, but it's very hard to get to. And the alpine areas are beautiful as well, but they're extremely difficult to get to. So you're kind of limited.
It's a bit awkward in the UK because the idea is if you can work, the government want you to work. If you can work from home, perfect. If you can work in your normal place of work, but keep the distances that the government, or as part of the government rules and regulations, then they want that to happen as well. But for some unknown reason, the mere mention of us photographers, bear in mind, this is my living as it is yours. This is what I do for a living. So I actually vlog as part of my living. It's not a fun thing anymore. It's part of my business. But for me to say, right, on Monday, I'm actually going back out vlogging again, there would be a hell of a backlash. And I just think that's really, really unfair. I just think that's really unfair because it's my work, it's my livelihood. Moreover, I'm not breaking any rules or regulations. It's my job. Yeah,
that's a tough one. I mean, I feel for people. I mean, and I'm guessing like Thomas is the same, and any vloggers in the UK. I mean, from what I've heard, you guys have a limited amount of time to go out and exercise or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. But and then you'll get people that'll see you there with your camera and spending too much time on the beach, and then of course they're going to report you to someone. But I guess that's just a population thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you live in an apartment, which a lot of people do in these areas, I mean, what's better, to be stuck in an apartment or in isolation, or to be outside in isolation? but you can't really make rules for one person and then have different rules for someone else, so they just swept with the same rules for everybody.
Sure.
It's difficult. It's difficult for everybody.
Yeah.
There's no wrong or right way. I mean, in Canada, I think the government have done an excellent job. They've really, they're working on the fly. They're day to day, it's different, and I think they've done a really great job in trying to keep this thing at bay. And I think with the resources that they have, they've done a pretty good job. You can't ask for more than that. Some countries, there's some countries I definitely wouldn't want to be in right now.
No, absolutely. I didn't really want to bring it up with you. It's just that I just so happened to mention it, and we've gone off on a bit of a tangent now. But I suppose the difficulty, the difficulty for the police is if they see me standing, on a beach taking some photographs, then I'd have to justify to them that, look, this is my job, and legally I'm, I suppose, entitled to be there. But likewise, I don't want to put them in an awkward position. Likewise, I don't want to put myself in an awkward position, because I'd end up with a backlash of people, unsubscribing and stuff. And yet, it's really frustrating for us because, like you said with Tom as well, this is what we do for a living. It's our livelihood.
Yeah.
And yet, people going back to, I'm going off on a tangent now, I didn't want to, but people going back to, like KFC has just opened, and Costa Coffee has just opened. And if you're a worker working at Costa, and now all of a sudden you're expected to just go back to work, and nobody will bat an eyelid because people want coffee and fried chicken from KFC, and that's acceptable. And I just find it a bit unfair, really. Anyway, let's come away from that rubbishy stuff. Let's have a more light-hearted conversation. Right, I've got a list of questions, but I'm going to say, right, I want 15,000 viewers for my for this video. I wasn't actually sure how to get it. Then I checked your website, and of course, I've just found the magic formula.
What's that?
Just found the magic formula. I'll tell you. Shall I tell you now, or just wait till you actually see it live? I've got a Wellington boot. So I thought we could just have a conversation about a Wellington boot. Look, there's my big size 13. Actually, it might be size 14 because I like to wear 2 pairs of socks. Only you, Adam Gibbs, can do that and get away with it. Absolutely fantastic.
I'll be honest with you. I genuinely thought that people would be interested in wellies. I don't know. I wear them all the time. If you watch my videos, I wear them all the time.
You do.
They're not for everybody, and but yeah, it is kind of funny. Well, I could just talk about cameras like everybody else, but that's kind of boring. So let's talk about wellies.
I had a pair of muck boots that, I don't know if you know the brand, but I didn't know the brand until one of my viewers recommended a pair of muck boots because I've got.
Yeah, I did a video about muck boots about a year or so ago.
Well, I've got gigantic feet, and the problem I've got is if you want to try and get a pair of size 13 wellies, that you end up going to Go Outdoors and buying the cheapest ones made by Dunlop at £6.99, and of course the sole of them is so thin and they're so slippery. And I complained about them on one of my videos one time, and somebody said, "Oh, what you should do is throw those £6.99 ones away and spend £100, on a pair of muck boots, about £70 or whatever." So I actually did, and brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
They are. I'm actually on my 3rd pair, and my second pair were the most comfortable. And I actually hiked in them last year when I went into Tonquin Valley, which is in Jasper National Park.
Yeah.
It's a place that I take people every year. And the hike in is a good 20 odd kilometers. I actually hiked out with my wellies on. They're so comfortable. The problem with them is that they're very sweaty, so they do stink. And but I don't mind my own stench. It's just when you have in other people's cars, like Gavin's, then he starts complaining about the stench. But I don't mind. So,
awesome.
But I actually wore them out, and that was, and so I sent them back to Muck Boots. Actually, I didn't even send them back. I just wrote them an email and said, "Well, these things are falling apart."
Right. And
they sent me a brand new pair, no questions. Yeah. And that's pretty good customer service. So the only problem is that the pair that they sent me, they're actually for winter use, and they're way too thick. So then I thought I'd try a different type of boot, and they have a Vibram sole. And I thought, well, people might be interested in that, but obviously, I don't know.
Yeah, they are good. I must admit, I'm not a fan of wellies, but since I've worn those, because my argument has always been, why don't they sell wellies with a boot sole? Because every time you buy wellies, they've always got a plastic sole, and plastic on wet rock, without stating the obvious, is damn well. It's really slippery and really dangerous as a landscape photographer. And so my argument is, so now I'm having to put my boots on, but risking getting my feet wet, just to stay safe. And I think that was the question I raised. And somebody said you should buy some muck boots. Now, as much as muck boots are good, they're still only a plastic sole. So I'm still confused.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The pair I just bought, they were actually a Scottish brand, I believe. I actually got them from the UK, right. And they have a Vibram sole, which is the same as a hiking boot, and they're excellent on slippery rocks and streams and such. And that's why I did a video, because I thought people might be interested in them. They're not as comfortable as the muck boots. They're a little bit looser, so I don't think I'd be hiking long distances in them. But I love them, but they're not for everybody. Some people like hiking boots, some people like sandals.
Right, before we start asking you some more questions, Adam, let's just get one of these features out of the way, because I wanted your take on this feature. If anybody, I'm sure I put it in the bio as well, so I'm sure you guys will know exactly what we're going to talk about. We're talking about Tom's video, and I remember him doing the video about 3 years ago when he said that he was creating some TV pilots, and I thought, I was kind of very excited for him at the time, but obviously since then nothing has ever happened. Then he brought that video out last week, which actually replayed the video. I'm sure you've seen it. Replayed the TV pilot that he actually made, and I thought, even by today's standards, it was an excellent video. But knowing how Tom works now, his presentation skills obviously have come on even more. So it would just have more value now if it came about. But then the video just ended, and I thought, well, we should have a conversation about that. So I did a bit of digging down on Google just to see what TV programs exist around landscape photography per se, and there's really nothing out there. There's nothing.
What did Tom call it? A posh vlog? I know Art Wolf did one. He had a series several years ago now, and that was really good. It was called, I think it was called Light on the Land or something. I could be wrong. Where he traveled around the world, and they were 30-minute segments. Yeah. And it was excellent. He would go to like South Georgia Island and photograph penguins, but there were really exciting areas, and I think that's what the draw was. It was more of a travel show. I guess the problem that I see with landscape photography is we're very solitary creatures, mm-hmm. and it might be hard to find a host that could actually pull it off. Tom would be a pretty good host.
Absolutely.
But most people watch TV and shows because I hate to say it, but they just want to be entertained, and I'm not sure if landscape photography is entertaining enough. I don't know. But you're right. I'd love to see more landscape photography or nature photography shows on TV or streaming services for sure.
My take on it, I made a note of some facts and figures that I lifted off the interweb. So the internet obviously is going to be right, isn't it? Because it's the internet. No, but seriously, I lifted some factual figures off. So an example is, there's one program called Tales of Light on Netflix. I didn't know that existed. So I got
I think that's Art Wolf, right?
Oh yeah, but I got quite excited when I saw that. But then when I actually saw the program, really I thought it was a program more about conservation, about suffering in the world, but it starred a photographer. It wasn't a photographer doing photography things. Does that make sense? It was almost like grabbing Thomas Heaton away from where he's comfortable and then taking him around to areas around the world where obviously there's lots of bad things going on, and then getting his perspective on it. which obviously, I'm not saying it didn't come across very well. I only come across it this morning when I was doing my research. But you've got things like, spring.
I think I have seen.
Go on.
I think I have seen it. It's different photographers, right? And they might have someone photographing whales, and then they'll talk about the conservation of whales. And but I think the reason why they do that is they have to have some kind of underlying story behind these series, rather than just people going out willy-nilly taking pictures of whatever, I mean, maybe that was their kind of angle on this thing.
Yeah, but I mean, let me ask you a question then. When we watch programs like, the Blue Planet, and you watch, Our Planet, so you've got Netflix there and you've got BBC, towards the end of it, and normally sometimes it's a separate program, they have the making of the Blue Planet. And
yes.
Surely everybody watches that, and it's not just photographers, because it's so fascinating when you see the lengths and the hardships that these photographers go through, the weeks and weeks and weeks just to get that few seconds of footage. That is really, really, really exciting to me. But I don't think that's exciting to me because I'm a photographer. I just like the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, do you ever watch Morton Hilmer? I mean, Morton, he could have a 40-minute video, and he's not really doing an awful lot. He's just setting up, and I mean, you could see the excitement in the guy, and I think people like that. But I don't know as if there's a large enough audience on on TV or a streaming network to put something like that out. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on that stuff, but I mean, I know Morton, when he puts out a video, he'll get a lot of views for that one video, but that's not TV views, that's YouTube views. And then we have, if you put a show out on say Netflix, I'm sure they get way more views than a YouTube view. I could be wrong, I don't know.
Well, Portrait and Landscape Artist of the Year. So that's just to do with painting, okay? When I say just, I'm obviously not belittling it in any way, shape or form, but they're big programs. They got lots of viewers. Portrait and Landscape, so they're different programs. Portrait Artist of the Year and then Landscape Artist of the Year. Obviously all to do with paintings or painters. Now, they have 700,000 views on average. 700,000 views. Now, if you think about that for a second, you mentioned Morton Hilmer there, and even Tom will have 100,000 views sometimes on a video. With what backing? With what advertising? It hasn't got the might of Sky advertising it and pushing it. You've only got Thomas Heaton and you've only got Morton Hilmer's channels, and yet they're not too dissimilar when it comes to the numbers. But also, Portrait and Landscape Artist of the Year, it was voted the best popular factual program of last year on Sky. So just think of all the programs they have on Sky, and it was voted the best popular factual program on Sky. Now, that's a huge accolade when the numbers are only 700,000 views, and it's about painting. Now, I'm sure, again, I'm not belittling painting because I wish I could paint because that's a real art. But surely there must be more people willing to learn about photography than there is about painting. I mean, an example, there was only 1,500 applicants for the whole show. Now, can you imagine if they opened this up, to photographers, send us your best landscape pictures and we'll show them, or we'll you could be part of an episode, you and 6 other photographers, and we'll look at your work and showcase your work. I'm sure they would have thousands and thousands of people sending in pictures.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to sort through them.
No, absolutely not. And so, me personally, I honestly believe that there has to be a program on TV that would definitely be interesting, based around photography, more so landscape photography.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally, I would love to see something like that. But then you have YouTube competing as well. So I just don't know as if there's enough of an audience. But maybe there is. I don't know. I think like I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, when I go out in the woods and I make a vlog, I mean, it might be interesting to photographers, but I just don't do enough I don't think to make it interesting for non-photographers. It'd have to have more than just me standing there talking about my compositions. It'd have to have a bit of some kind of, well, kind of like what Tom did in his. He talked a little bit about not just photography, but perhaps the subject itself, a little bit of background about the subject, not in great detail, but just a little bit more than just photography related. I don't know. I'm definitely not an expert in this field, so.
Well, I'm aghast why there isn't actually. I never thought about it until Thomas brought his video out. I mean, obviously, it's no good for me, but certainly there are a lot of very talented young. Even Tom. I'm not obviously dispelling Tom doing it. Of course, Tom would be fantastic for the role, and I'm very surprised that nobody's actually picked up on that, because also there's loads of independent TV stations.
There are, and of course the streaming services as well. I mean, they're just dying for content right now because there are so many people watching, and they're all vying for the top spot. Like Netflix is at the top, and then you've got the other ones kind of scrambling to get up there as well. And I'm sure they're all looking for content of some sort.
Sure.
I mean, Netflix put in I don't know how many billions of dollars for content.
Sure.
The problem is that, and I think, I mean, I can't talk for Tom, but from what I see, the nice thing about something like YouTube is that you can create videos with your own content. You don't have to answer to anybody. Whereas when you start to put something on, say, a TV channel, then you have to go through a lot of other people, and they probably have way more say in what's going to be in that show than, say, just doing it yourself, because you're trying to reach a larger audience. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. It's a different ball game. It's a completely different ball game. But
I know for one thing, I probably wouldn't make a very good host. First, I'd have to get my hair cut first.
You've actually done your hair and had a shave for today, so I'm honored.
I don't even have a comb. I just kind of went like that, and went, oh, that looks good.
That was it. 4-finger comb. Stoop, that'll do. I have no idea why, but I had a shave because the wife told me I had to have a shave, and I even put aftershave on. I have no idea why. I've no idea. Even the wife said, "What are you putting aftershave on for?" I don't know.
I really want to smell good for me.
Just for you. Right, guys, just before I start having a longer chat with Adam, if any of you guys got any thoughts on why we haven't got, or if you think why we should have TV programs based around, more around photography and more around landscape photography, then, leave a comment below, because if we don't see them now, then I certainly will look back at them, and I'm sure Adam will as well. So give us your thoughts on that. And the only reason why I brought it up, just very briefly, is because when I mentioned it earlier, somebody left a message saying that it's not mainstream enough. Well, I thought, hang on a minute, nor is fishing, right? But people who like fishing will watch fishing on TV.
I don't know about that. I think there's a hell of a lot more people fishing than landscape photography. I mean, we get the fishing shows here on Saturdays, and I mean, it's just a couple of guys on a boat fish. I mean, it's
maybe fishing was the wrong analogy. Actually,
really, what it is a huge infomercial. I mean, they're selling boats, it's like fishing rods, and so on and so forth. And I mean, I even catch myself watching them, and I mean, it's so boring. It's just a couple of guys talking about fishing. I don't even fish,
Yeah.
But landscape photography, I don't know. I think people were just kind of like, as soon as you started talking about f-stops and shutter speeds, you'd lose them. I know you'd lose me.
I know. The thing is that I want it to be right, but I can see your side of it as well. I can see your side of it.
I think you'd have to make it more into a travel show with photography.
Oh, absolutely.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's obviously what I'm thinking about. If somebody's going to go to Canada, obviously, while part of the B-roll will be somebody explaining or giving you the history of Canada, and because that's what you have to do to keep your B-roll entertaining. Otherwise your B-roll just looks like mine.
Mine too.
I was going to say, talk about crappy B-roll. You're putting whiskey into your look like a dog bowl.
Well, I had a comment. It really bugged me. I don't know why it bugged me. I mean, you get comments all the time that bug you. I mean, if I followed what everybody tells me on like the feed, some of it's feedback, and I like feedback, but some of it just comes across as just being, I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking it the wrong way. But if I followed everything that people recommended, I wouldn't have a video at all, you know. And someone said, well, he didn't say he was going to unsubscribe, but he said, oh, I'm just sick and tired of watching B-roll of people making coffee. And it's true. I mean, you watch any landscape photography show, and either a lot of walking or a lot of coffee making. But is it really that big a deal? I mean, it just kind of builds you into the scene. I always thought that, you know, it just kind of draws you in, and it's a good opener. And so my last video, I decided to forego the tea making and just start with the drinking straight away rather than later. You know, I was just taking a piss out of the guy.
Thing is, I love the way you just nonchalantly, literally got a bowl down, got your whiskey, took forever to get the cap off, and then just literally poured the whiskey with no fancy B-roll. There's no Peter McKinnon stuff going on there, was it? It was just, there you go, bit of whiskey.
Slow motion and, you know, beautiful light. And yeah.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
I mean, I always mean to do stuff like that, but it takes so much effort and time. And I remember when I first started doing my YouTube channel, and I really wanted to add a lot of just beautiful video footage. And I started off that way, but it took away from the photography because I was spending way more time just doing the video work than I was actually talking about photography. And someone actually mentioned it. They said, well, you know, the video is great, but you're kind of veering away from photography. Is that really the direction you want to go? And I thought about it. I thought, no, I just want to talk about photography and show people these different areas and talk about composition and light. And so then I just started to forego the video stuff and just talk and just spend more time in the photography section. Because it does, well, as you know, it takes an awful long time, a lot of time to put videos together.
Yeah.
And if you start having, you know, sliding rails and all kinds of fancy camera work, then it takes a long time to put all that stuff together, you know.
Let alone the weight of carrying it all.
Well, that's the other problem, you know. I mean, I'm definitely not getting any younger, and carrying that stuff is I mean, like I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I couldn't get my tripod low enough, and someone said, well, you should get this, you should get this. I'm thinking, yeah, that's all fantastic gear, but you've got to carry it all. And if you're working out of your car, it's great, but as soon as you start hiking for a few kilometers and you've got to carry all this extra stuff, it's just too much, you know. So
I don't get many negative comments, if I'm honest, but I got one last week. It wasn't really a negative one, but it was just one I just didn't understand, and it was a comment that somebody put. It was on my last live show. I had 2 guests on there, and it went on for an hour and 40 minutes. And somebody commented, "I can't wait till you vloggers get back out to vlogging. Then I don't have to sit through an hour and 40 minutes of a video." And I'm thinking, what does
you don't have to.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'm not asking you to. Just either skip it, skip to your best bit, skip to the guests, or just don't watch the blooming thing, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Hang on. You do it across there and put your arm in the shot. You have to look on there and put your arm in the shot. Come on. My wife won't come on the camera. There we are, look. Yeah, there we are. Thank you, love. Sorry, Adam. Adam can't see what we're doing, by the way. That's the wife just handed me another bottle of Corona.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, it's a bit early here. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, so I'm still on the tea.
Question number 1 I've got here. What time is it in Canada? Just so that everybody knows. It is quite literally, isn't it? 9 o'clock in the morning when you actually literally, when we touched base this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means you've had to be up, shaved, do your hair, dry it, blow dry it.
No, not quite. Just get up, clean cat, clean kitty litter, put the garbage out. Oh yeah, I got to talk to Gary.
Yeah, I'm like one of those PSs at the bottom of a letter. Oh yeah, I've got to talk to Gary as well. That guy who keeps bothering me from the UK.
Yeah, precisely.
Right, question. F4. Uh-oh. It saves you bringing it up. Let me just go straight to the point. What's happening there?
Well, the episodes have been all finished, and we're just putting together the processing videos. So the F4 project, for those of you that don't know, is a project that myself, Gavin Hardcastle, Tom Heaton, and Nick Page, and Greg Snell have put together, and it's a photography course in video format. But it's quite different than what other people have put out there. People either really love it or they really hate it. It has an underlying story, and so the actual course itself is taken quite seriously, but we also have this underlying story that's just totally bizarre, and it's just on a different level.
It's story based. Is it story based? Is that what you're saying?
Well, there is a story to it, yes, and we basically go on this 3-week trip with the guys in this old trailer, and we spent 3 weeks traveling down the west coast of the States, and we finish up in Las Vegas, and we stop off at all these different areas and do this course, and it was an awful lot of fun. I mean, I must admit, by the end of it, we were all done. We just wanted to get home, and now the work we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's been a lot of work. Originally, we wanted to put it out in October, but we've moved it forward because of this current situation. A lot of people are still at home watching shows and stuff, so we thought we'd try and get it out a little bit earlier. So we're hoping to have it out in the next couple of weeks. And it's I don't know, it was a really fun project to put together, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of crying, drama.
The thing isn't that the beauty of YouTube? Like you said earlier on, you're not answerable to anybody. You can just do what the hell you want.
You can. I mean, there's always an audience for whatever you talk about. I mean, some of it's a little bit unsavory from what I've seen on YouTube lately, with all these conspiracy theories and such. But it's a great way for people to have a voice, and this project has just kind of morphed into something that was much bigger than we thought it was going to be.
Sure.
But I'm pretty excited about it. It's a total. It's a real departure from my normal character. So.
You mean you're happy in it?
Well, it's just really, put it this way, there's some really bad acting in it.
Cool. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I think people will really enjoy it, and some people perhaps not. It might not be their cup of tea, but that's fine.
When is it coming out? Do we know?
Well, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
Actually, I should be doing my processing videos right now, but I'm talking to you, so.
Bless you. I'm costing you money, you know that, don't you? That's what it is. Right now, I'm costing you money. Talking of which, again, people probably don't realise the extent of how damaging this has been for us financially, the situation we find ourselves in. Obviously, it's not only us, it's obviously lots of people that find out themselves in our situation. But, workshops and stuff like that, there's such a big part of our income, and all of a sudden that stream has just been closed. It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really fortunate because my partner is still working. She has a really good job, and she has had to take a pay reduction. But the workshops, that was a bit of a blow, because this was going to be probably my best year yet, and the whole thing just kind of went down the tubes. I mean, I am still hoping to get some in September and October, but I'm not sure if they're even going to go. I mean, because one of them is in Spain and one of them is in Scotland, and who knows what's going to happen between now and September and November.
Yeah.
So I make a little bit of income from YouTube, but it's not a lot. As you know, ad revenues is not a lot. The memberships has been not too bad. I make a bit of income from that, but it's definitely not enough to make a living out of. That's for sure. No. For some reason, some people seem to think that YouTubers make just a ton load of money. I don't know why.
No.
And you know, things like Squarespace and that, I know it's annoying for some people, but you know, it's revenue. It's an extra little bit of money in my pocket, and it helps me keep producing videos. So for watching a 30-second ad on Squarespace or whatever, I'm sure it can't be that painful for people. I mean, after all, the video is pretty much free anyway. So, I mean, when you watch TV, you don't see people complaining about the ads on TV. I mean, if you watch Dr. Phil, you get about 10 minutes of ads and 2 minutes of Dr. Phil, you know, and you're paying for cable at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty good deal on YouTube.
Yeah. I got the same thing as well, even on my channel, when, you know, I had that little spell of being sponsored by Squarespace, and it's like, oh, you've now sold out as well, and it's like, oh, hang on a minute.
Well, sold out to who? You're not selling out to any. I mean, it's a win-win. I mean, you're any of those companies that pay like Squarespace. I mean, they're doing you a favor. You're getting a little bit of extra money, and you're advertising, and their products are fine. I mean, I use Squarespace. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess for some reason people don't like it when you start to charge a little bit of money for something, and they have a choice. They don't have to pay for it. If they don't want it, then that's fine. You know.
Yeah, and not only that, but on YouTube you can just double tap to fast forward 15 seconds. So without stating the obvious, quick maths tells me double tap. You've gone past your 30-second blethering on about Squarespace. So, you know, it's that, and all of a sudden, Adam is no longer talking about his sponsorship. You know, if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative, that's your choice. Stop bloody moaning, for heaven's sake. No, it does.
I guess we should stop moaning too.
Stops winding me up. You've moved across to the dark side, Adam.
With what? My wellies?
Fujifilm. You're shooting with a Fujifilm. You moved across to the dark side. Explain yourself.
Well, I thought I already explained myself, but I guess I'll have to explain again. So I still use my Nikon camera, but I had a very generous viewer on my channel, and he gave me a Fuji GFX 50 with 3 lenses. He sent me an email and offered it to me. And I accepted, and I'm extremely grateful. And I'm not the only person that he's done this. He's done this for a number of photographers. I mean, he's a real patron, and it's no seriously. I mean, I look at it as no difference than if you're giving a gift to, say, an art gallery or someone that you really admire or really enjoy. I mean, it's extremely generous, and I'm extremely grateful for this person giving me the camera. I had one person on one video say, well, you shouldn't have accepted it. Well, why not? Why wouldn't I? You know, I use it. It's a great camera, and that's why I use it.
Ooh, and Adam Gibbs, that makes you a very bad person. Accepting a gift of somebody. Ooh, you're a very bad person.
I'm actually thinking of investing in a Fuji X-T4 actually, and I am considering getting rid of the Nikon.
Really?
I mean, I love the Nikon, but it's heavy. It's heavy, and when I'm carrying it up mountains, it's just heavy. So,
where's my rich viewers? I'll happily give Fuji a go. If anybody wants to send me a Fujifilm, I'm happily giving it a go.
I mean, to be honest with you, Gary, I mean, if I had the money, which I don't, but if I had the money, I would actually go out and buy the Fuji GFX 100. I mean, I think if you're going to go for medium format, just go all out.
Yeah.
And because there isn't a huge difference between the GFX 50 and the Nikon D850, there isn't. And for the amount of money that it costs, I don't know if I could justify spending that amount of money on a medium format camera unless I'm going to go all the way, you know.
That is, it's brilliant though, isn't it? I've got no problem with anybody's camera gear, by the way. And again, if ever you want to get anybody's backup, just tell everybody that you're a Canon user and you'd never touch Nikon, and that's the end of it. Boom, explosions.
Well,
you know, YouTube goes mad.
What I like about the Fujis is that they've kind of, even though they have all the bells and whistles, which most of them I don't use, they kind of feel old school. Like they have the compensation dial, the aperture, you change it on the lens like you would an old a film camera, and that's kind of what I like. I mean, that's how I started in photography, and I like that. And it feels like an old film camera. I mean, even the GFX 50 that I'm using, the R, it's very boxy. I mean, it's just like a box. There's nothing to it. And I really like that. It feels very simple, even though it has a whole ton of features to it. And to be honest with you, the files from that camera, I actually prefer them than the Nikon D850. There's just something about them that I like the colors. I don't know. I just like using the camera, and for sometimes that's part of the experience. You know, it's like when I was using 4x5. Even though the 4x5 is a pain to use, it was the whole process that I really enjoyed. You know, setting up the camera and changing the aperture and taking light readings, and I mean it was a whole process to take the image, and I kind of miss that.
Sure.
So the medium format has kind of brought a little bit of that back for me, and why not? I mean, it should be an enjoyable experience, so that's why I like using it.
They are good. I do like that old school feel to them. They're like a Leica. You know, they're just they're really, really nice. And again, a lot of people don't realise, but obviously, you know, when I get lots of people coming to the studio for training. We do lots of groups and stuff like that. And of course, the first thing you do is, right, okay, on Nikons you should be over there, Canons you should be over there. I'll talk to the Canons first, then we'll talk. No, the whole thing is just daft, but it's always a good icebreaker. But what I always tell people is, look, here's £500 or here's £1,000, doesn't really matter. Go out and try and buy a bad camera.
Yeah.
It's impossible, whether it's new or whether it's second-hand. Look, here's £500. Go out and buy a stinking camera. Buy one that takes lousy pictures, and you just cannot do it. So all cameras nowadays, there's very little between any camera, make, model or brand. They're all as good as each other now, aren't they? It must be difficult for camera manufacturers to try and get your money nowadays. Must be.
Oh, it must be extremely difficult. I mean, I think all of those companies are going through, you know, kind of tough times. I mean, especially with the cell phones the way they are now. I mean, point and shoots were the big money maker for a lot of these companies, and of course, point and shoots now are pretty much obsolete. Most people just use, you know, their cell phone.
Sure.
And you know, mirrorless cameras and DSLRs. I mean, I don't know much about the marketing of these things, but I don't think there's a massive market for all these cameras. I mean, I don't know what the incentive. I mean, how much more can they put in these cameras? I'll be interested to see where it goes. You know, it is.
Do you know what? It's ever so strange. I interviewed a photographer called Mike Brown just a few weeks ago, and he's the first person I've ever come across that's the same as me. I don't really like talking about cameras because it's the most ironic thing to say. They don't interest me that much. The camera I've got works, so therefore I'm not trying to upgrade it or change it every 5 minutes. But lots of people are, and I just find that very bizarre. I find it very bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this with other people before. I mean, let's face it. You go on again on YouTube, and the most popular type of channels are the ones where people talk about gear. And I think the reason why they're popular is because it's something more tangible for a lot of people. You know, let's face it, a lot of amateur photographers just don't have the time to go out and use their equipment. So it's just easier to buy equipment and talk about equipment because everybody can do that. But when it actually comes to go out and taking images, then that's a little bit harder to do. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's why people are so much into gear. I mean, I have gas just like everybody else. I'll see a new piece of equipment and I think, oh yeah, I could really use that, and then you kind of talk yourself into buying it when in fact you don't really need it whatsoever, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, for people that are just starting out, I mean, it's a great time to buy used equipment. You can buy. There's so much great used stuff on the market right now, and you don't have to buy the latest and greatest. You know, even like the Nikon D800 or the D810, they're fantastic cameras. The Canon 5D Mark III or 4. Fantastic cameras, you know. You don't have to go out and buy the latest. I mean, who needs 8K video? I mean,
no. I mean, one of my video recommendations of the week. I'll talk about that, you know, later on when you're gone. But the premise of one of those videos is there's an astrophotographer on there who photographs deep space images, and he put together a cheap rig and compared it next to his big rig. But he actually bought a camera secondhand off eBay for £125. And he's photographing deep space images, and they're out of, well, without stating the obvious, out of this world, pardon the pun. But it just goes to show, you know, even like Mike Brown said when I spoke to him, he said the most important thing is upgrade the photographer and not your gear.
Yeah, or I mean, if you are going to spend money on gear, then spend it on the lenses and not so much on the camera body itself, or spend the money on a trip. You know? But you know, you need time to go on trips, so I think that's where, especially in North America, I mean, a lot of people only get 2 or 3 weeks off for holidays a year, so there's not a lot of time to go out and practice your hobby, you know.
Sure.
Especially if you have a family, then you're spending the weekends with your family, and then maybe a week or two with the family on a holiday, so that only gives you a week to go out and actually go on a photo trip, you know.
Sure.
So I do understand. I mean, that's where I'm very fortunate in that, because I work for myself and I work at home, I can go out whenever I want. You know, I just have to look out the window. Okay, well, today's a good day, and I'll go out. So I have that advantage over a lot of people, and that's why I'm able to, you know, because I can go out anytime, practice my craft, and that's why I keep improving. You know,
so, my craft. I love that. Practice my craft. I love it. Right, let's just very quickly throw another couple of questions at you. Then we'll look at the comment section and we'll find out what questions people are asking or want me to ask you. I've also got a couple of questions as well from emails where people have sent in questions via email. Just very quickly, probably really boring. I never really see you use filters except polarizers. Are you a filter man?
No. I use a polarizer sparingly, but not very much. I've said this before. Because my friend Gavin, he pretty much leaves a polarizer on his lens all the time for everything. Yeah. I find personally, when you use a polarizer, you get a lot of glare. I usually use it to get glare out off of foliage. Yeah. But sometimes I really want that glare because to my eye, it gives the image depth. As soon as you take that glare out, then there's no contrast. Yeah. So it saturates the colors, but it gets rid of a lot of that contrast that I'm looking for. So that's why I use it sparingly. I mean, there's so many different filter companies out there now with these. I mean, they're all, these magnetic ones are fantastic, but I don't use filters very much.
Yeah, I literally have a couple of filters in my bag, and the one filter that I very rarely ever use, and that's my polarizer. I very rarely ever use it, and because I'm like you, I feel that a polarizer is the one filter that you cannot replicate in post-production. But I tend to find that I'm adding light. So like, wherefore you're removing light with a polarizer off, say, the surface of water, I tend to prefer my water images with light on them. And so I tend to add more light to them. And that's why I never really ever shoot with a polarizer. Very rarely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, obviously I'm not right. I mean, it's just my personal preference, you know. But I do believe that, you know, if what I'm finding is that I find an awful lot of people, they'll take images, but they don't look at them after they take them, or they don't process them. They're just not into processing. So what I say to people that aren't into sitting behind a computer, after the fact. It's just try and do as much as you can in camera so that you don't have to do that much. So when it comes to split grad filters or anything like that, like personally, I don't use them because I just do all of that in post-processing. But if you're not into post-processing, then definitely use filters and techniques to at least get the image in camera so that you don't have to do all that stuff afterwards. Obviously, if you're shooting raw files, then you have to do something to them because it's just a file. It's not really an image. So you have to add a little bit of contrast and
Sure.
and saturation maybe. But that's what I recommend to people, is just try and do it as much as you can in camera. Make sure that you're shooting in good light. That really helps. But if you enjoy working behind a computer, then yeah, I definitely don't see a need for a lot of filters and all that stuff because you can do a lot of that in post-processing.
I only literally use 2 soft ND grad filters. That's all I use. But I found it quite extraordinary when people tell me they don't use any at all and they do it in post-production. But only from my take is, if I'm out teaching somebody, okay, whether it's a one-to-one or a group, then really the proof is in the pudding. I need to take a picture, then show people the back of my screen to show the results. Now, if I'm showing a blown out sky all the time, it then is very difficult for me to say, yeah, but the next picture I've underexposed it by 2 stops to allow for the blown out sky, and I'll combine them later. Because then you then having to get them to use their imagination, and also you're then expecting them to go away and post-process their work as well.
Yeah, and it's definitely not for everybody. I mean, I know people that have taken images 2 or 3 years ago and they haven't looked at them since, you know. And it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to these workshops and they take their images and then they never look at them again. They never get around to processing them. They just enjoy the process of actually taking photographs.
Right, one more question from me. I totally agree with you, by the way. One more question from me. I'll try and say this in my voiceover voice, because I reckon that every time you create a video, you're taking the piss out of me. I do. But let me explain, right? So first of all, your last video, right? Hang on a sec. Photographing mossy trees on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Right, so your opening scene on that. Now, you know I've lost 2 drones. And I'm watching you flying your drones, possibly backwards or maybe doing it forwards and then reversing the film. I don't really know. But I've lost 2 blooming drones in the middle of nowhere. And you've lost... so you're flying your drones with literally what looks to me like inches to spare. How do you actually do those opening shots? Is that with a drone? Are
Yes.
you literally flying backwards, or do you fly forwards and then reverse the film?
Both.
Right.
So I don't spend a lot of time with my drone. Actually, lately I haven't been using it very much at all. It was just this last week that I thought, oh yeah, I should really start doing more drone stuff again. What I usually do is I'll just take off and I'll just make sure, you just have to make sure that you have your eye on the drone at all times. Don't take your eye off the drone. Don't start looking at your screen. Just watch the drone. And it's amazing how close you can fly to things when you're watching your drone. And there's just one thing, just make sure that you're standing either directly in front of it or behind it, and you've got your eye on it all the time, and just keep watching it until, you know, it gets to the point where you're having trouble seeing it, which is not that far for me because my eyes are kind of not that great. But just keep watching the drone, and then when you get to a certain point, then just back it out. And that's what I do. I'll just do one pass. I'll go out and then back and then land it and then move on to something else.
I just see my name on it.
With the trees, what I've done, I mean, obviously I've gotten better over the years at flying a drone and I'm more comfortable with it. But lately, I'll try and find a very small opening and just fly through that opening, and then just fly back. I mean, it's not that hard, and you put it in tripod mode so it goes quite slow, because you can always speed it up a little bit.
Sure.
And the only problem with going forward and then reversing the clip is that if you have, say, water or anything like that, then obviously it's not going to work. If you have a waterfall, because then it'll be going backwards.
Have you crashed any?
Yeah, but nothing serious. The most serious one was in Greenland, actually. I thought I'd lost it. For some reason, I couldn't see it on the map, and I crashed it. And of course, I went looking for it, and I had a hell of a time finding it. And luckily, the drone stayed on, and I could review the video. So I just kept looking at the video, and I was trying to see which rocks were near it. And eventually, I was just about to give up, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw a red light flashing. I thought, oh, there it is, and I grabbed it. But it hasn't been the same since then. It's a bit.
Well, I honestly see every time you do that, I just see my name written all over it. That's you just taking the piss out of me. I'm going to buy another drone, by the way. I do miss my drone. The one bit of equipment that I do miss, and I've lost 2 Mavic.
I'll sell you one. I've got 4 of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll sell you one.
Yeah, I'll buy.
Actually, I have a new one. I think it's the Mavic Mini.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't used it that much, but it's brilliant because it's so small, and the quality of the video is actually really good. So that's my backpacking drone.
Is it as good as the Mavic Pro?
Not quite.
Right.
It doesn't have the same features, so you have to be a little bit more careful with it. But the Mavic Pro is just superb. And the new one that just came out, which incidentally I am not buying because I have way too many drones, the new one looks excellent. It looks even better than so that might be one that you might want to look at.
Perfect. Okay, right. I'll probably buy one of your drones off you when I come out to Canada to see you. Right, let's got a couple of questions for you, then we'll speak to the guys, because obviously I'm taking up an awful lot of your time.
Sure.
But this is why I wanted to do this show a little bit earlier, because I have to finish for 7 o'clock and I've still got so much to cram in. A couple of questions that people have sent me. A shameless plug. You can't see me doing this, Adam, but I'm looking directly into the camera. This is a shameless plug. Right. Diamuid, that's Dermot O'Donovan. You know Dermot. Yeah. My question for Adam is...
I don't know a Dermot. I know a Darren, I don't know a Dermot.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, right, okay, yeah, this is okay. Right, you're ahead of me. Since Dermot is your favourite of the duo from the Irish Photography Podcast, shameless plug, shame on you. Could you give him a hand in where to start looking for a photo in Woodland? What are you looking for in terms of light, backlight, side light? Also from a compositional point of view, how do you find one in such chaos as forests can often be? That's from Dermot, obviously from the Irish Photography Podcast, guys. Shameless plug.
What do I look for? Well, I did a video a few weeks ago where I was actually having a hard time finding anything. And what I ended up doing was just looking for light, very slight light on certain trees. So usually I don't look for specific subjects. I just look for the light, whatever the light's doing. And then I'll photograph around what that light is doing. And I just find that easier for me because in Canada, the forests around here especially, they're all conifers. So they don't have an awful lot of character to them, except for the odd maybe cedar or the really old trees. But most of them are just straight up and down. So I'll just look for light. And if you look at a lot of my woodland photography, it's usually some light hitting some moss or a certain part of the tree, and then I just try and compose around that light, and that works for me. Because if you're just looking at the subject all the time, you're just going to be confused. I mean, it's just chaos out there. So I don't always come home with great images from the woods, but I spend an awful lot of time in forests as well, looking for photographs. So that helps as well. Just time, observing. That's about the best advice I can give, really, is just look for what the light is doing. Even on cloudy days, if you look at the side of a tree, like say this mug here, well, this isn't great light for this, but if I had side lighting, you might notice that there's slightly brighter on one side than the other side, and you can use that. And then when you post-process that image, you can just brighten that side up just a little bit more, give it more depth.
Sure.
And then perhaps at the back, keep an eye on the background, what's happening in the background. If you have any distractions, then try and move your composition so you don't have those distractions. And that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously, it's a bit more involved than that. But like I said, I've been spending so much time in the woods that after a while, it becomes, I don't really want to say second nature, but it just becomes easier. You know, it's like anything. The more time you do it, the easier it becomes, you know.
I made I don't like making tips videos, but I spent 2 days, the last 2 days before lockdown, I spent 2 days in the Lake District making a video to explain exactly what you've just said, how to calm the chaos, how to create order in chaos, and really how I go about shooting my woodland photography. I literally spent 2 days, and I slept in my van up in the lakes as well. I had a great time. It never stopped pigging raining, and one of my cameras, half of the video footage that I took didn't work because my camera got absolutely sodden. So I've come back with a day and a half worth of video, but it's an incomplete video, so I've never finished it. So I'm going to end up probably going back out and reshooting the whole thing. Yeah, but it is an interesting art, though, isn't it? Shooting woodland photography. It's not as easy as people think it is.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I like about it. It's just such I love putting together those complex scenes. Again, like in my last couple of videos, there's this scene that with these trees that are kind of going in. I mean, it's not a fantastic shot, but I love that challenge of just trying to find something in all that chaos. That's the enjoyable part for me. And I mean, most of the people watching now probably know Simon Baxter. I mean, Simon is great at photographing woodland. I mean, that's all he photographs pretty much. But I think Simon approaches it the same. He tries not to look at a tree as a specific subject, but rather perhaps a juxtaposition in different shapes, or it's hard to explain. Trying to find anomalies within a scene or a tree, and just focusing on that, and wrapping the composition around that one element that you've noticed in the scene.
Isn't this art form, Adam, a brilliant thing? As in, you know, you're a professional, I'm a professional, but we might go about taking photographs in a very, very different way. There isn't a set way of doing it. As long as the end result is what you want or what you wanted to achieve, there isn't a right and wrong way of doing it, is there? Isn't it really strange?
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing what I'm always blown away by the creativity of what people come up with, not in just photography, but just all art forms. I mean, I also recommend this to people. If you really want to become a better photographer, then start looking at other art forms as well, and really study, you know, just different aspects of art, because I think it really does help in photography. But it always amazes me how creative people are and what they come up with in photography. And you can use those ideas, you know, like I don't do it so much now, but what I used to do is I used to look at a lot of photography books, and I just pore over them and look at all the different images, and I'd look at the ones that I really liked and the ones that I didn't like, and I'd try and figure out, well, you know, where's the light coming from? How did they do that? And then use those ideas in my own photography. Not go out and copy them, but just try and figure out, okay, well, that's really neat how they did that. How could I use that in my own photography? That helped me a lot as well. Sure.
Let me throw one more question at you. One more question from Mark Judson. Hi, Mark, by the way. Mark is a very good friend of mine. His daughter actually painted a picture of one of my landscape pictures, which I'm eternally grateful for. Mark, I haven't forgotten. I need to make a video around it, because I think it's a great idea when somebody paints a picture, so they take their own perspective on your work, if that makes sense. And for the first time in my life, I actually felt like an artist, because his daughter painted a picture of what I actually captured. Does that make sense? It's almost like he's taken my photograph and put it into an art form. It's the most, I can't explain it. But anyway, this is the question. Sudek, so Josef Sudek, is considered by some to be a master photographer, which I don't doubt, but I don't understand his work. Any chance of a steer on his thought process? So for anybody out there who doesn't know who Josef Sudek is, he's a Czech photographer, best known for his photographs of Prague. I lifted that from the internet, by the way, because even I had to look him up, being honest with you. What's your thoughts on Mark Judson as a photographer?
You mean Josef Sudek?
Yeah, no, Mark. Sorry, Mark. No, Mark's a really good photographer, by the way. Anyway, enough about Mark.
He's amazing.
Josef Sudek. What's your thoughts?
Well, it was funny, Gary, because I had never heard of Josef Sudek, and then I realized it was the photographer that Tom did a video about not so long ago, trying to replicate one of his images of a glass of water with a rose coming out of it. And I just had a quick look at his photography, and I really like it. And the reason why I like it is because, especially some of his still lifes, is that he has some absolutely beautiful light in there. Especially, well, the one that Tom tried to replicate is a really beautiful photograph. And they're very much like paintings of still lifes. I mean, you could kind of say the same thing. Well, if you look at a still life of a painting of a still life, some might say, well, what's so great about that? But I think it's just looking at how the elements go together, and the light in some of these images is really quite beautiful, I think. He seems to have a lot of water in glasses. I guess he likes the way that the light comes through the glass and then reflects on tabletops or whatever, anything like that. But like I said, I haven't looked at his work a lot, so I can't give a really educated kind of analysis of his work. But from what I can see, just looking at thumbnails, I quite like it. Sorry.
No,
and I like the toning in some of the shots too.
It's ever so strange, because I think that art form, because of the internet being the internet, because of programs like Instagram, I honestly believe that type of artistry is probably not appreciated nowadays. And let me explain. I watched that video. Bloody hell, Tom's taking over this bloody show. I watched that video that Tom did, and I totally got and understood what he said. Now, when he created that video, on my Facebook page, quite a few people started posting almost like replica pictures. This is a picture that I took of a glass with some water and a flower in it, with 45-degree angle using natural light. And of course, hardly any of the pictures got any thumbs up, because most people would have just seen it as a glass of water and moved on, because we're a throwaway society now, aren't we? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think the whole. I mean, it's kind of like Edward Weston's image of the peppers. He did a whole series of peppers, and a lot of people might look at that and go, "Well, it's just a pepper. What's so great about that?" But that wasn't the point. It was looking at the form and the light and the contrast. I mean, they're just beautiful images, or beautiful photographs. If you look at it in terms of what's happening with the shape of that pepper, and I think it's kind of the same with these. I mean, you don't have to like them. I mean, I just think it's more of a study in light. That's the way I see it.
It is exactly that.
And I admire stuff like that. It's not something that I would probably do, but I could definitely see me, doing like what Tom did, is just going one day and taking a photograph of someone and trying to replicate it. I think it's a great idea. Just to kind of see how light reacts with different subjects, and how you can control light in a studio setting. I mean, incidentally, that's why so many photographers enjoy shooting in a studio more than outside, is because they're able to control the light. That's why landscape photography is so difficult, because we don't have control of the light. We're kind of left to the elements.
Yeah.
It's the same with when they make films. It's just easier to control light in a studio setting than it is outside.
Or, as I always say, the opposite, landscape photography is easy because you've got an excuse for coming away with a poor picture. you've got an excuse, because the light wasn't good. I was there at the wrong time of the day. It rained. I was there at the wrong time of the week. I was there at the wrong time of the month. At the end of the day, you have an excuse. Wherefore, if you're in a studio where you control light, you have to come away with a good picture, or you're bad at your job.
Yeah, and I think images like that, they're good because they help you understand light a bit more. Even though you might not be interested in, say, photographing a glass on a tabletop, the whole point is trying to learn about light and how it reacts with your subject matter. And I think that's a great lesson to learn. That's my take on it, anyway.
No, I was going to make a video on one thing I teach in the studio is window light photography. You can use window light photography for absolutely everything, and I always encourage people. It's the most bizarre thing, because I swear I've been doing this for years and years and years, and I've never seen that video. And I always tell people a great way to learn light is to actually put a rose in a glass, sit it at a 45-degree angle away from the light source of a window, and then actually move it. As you can even see my hand now with the light, obviously, you can't see it, obviously, Adam, but so people could see now, as I move it, you could see the light completely changing on my hand. And I tell people, yes, it's a great medium, and it's a great way to learn photography. It really is.
Yeah, and also different types of light. You get a diffused light, or even if you just take just any old object and just place it on a table, and we used to do this actually in college. We'd have one of those horrible remember those can lights that got really hot?
Yeah.
And we'd have to move it around, up, down, behind, and just see how the shadows lay, and then you can put diffusers on it and colored gels, and it's really interesting to see how light reacts to different objects, and how you can use that to your advantage.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I was saying about the forest photography earlier. Is if you really try to pay attention more to what the light is doing than the actual subject itself, I think that, well, for me, it really does help. So
cool. Right. Okay. Right, Adam. What I'm going to do now then is I've got a whole list. Bloody hell! There's a whole list of questions that Tony thankfully has lifted from the comment section below. So lots of people are asking questions, and I'm going to rattle. I swear I've not seen them. I'm just going to rattle through them all now if I can. But do me a favour, Adam. Just give me a short answer, because I appreciate I've taken up much of your time. I'll try. I'm not going to edit any of these. I'm just going to ask them. If you don't want to answer them, just say pass and we'll move on. Right. Okay, so question number 1, and I'll take these in the order that Tony has sent them. So the oldest to the newest. This is from Creedy Scott. Okay, so hi, Adam. How did you get sponsored by Squarespace? Did you reach out to them, or did they contact you?
They contacted me.
Okay. Question. Okay, this is from The Wall. Question. How much research do you do, Adam?
Very little. Unless I'm traveling abroad, then I'll do a little bit more.
This is so me. It's so me. Jeff. Oh my God! When you get somebody's name wrong, Calcraft. How long you been in BC, Adam? How long you been? I'm reading it exactly as it is. How long you been in BC, Adam?
1986 World Expo. That's when I came.
Okay, cool. John Drummond. Gary, are you drinking Corona? Look at that. A question for me. Look at that. That's the extent of my viewership, by the way. They want to know what beer I'm drinking. That's it.
Pretty sad, eh?
That's it. That's all I get. John Drummond. Adam, do you ever shoot wildlife? Must be plenty on Vancouver Island. So, do you ever shoot wildlife?
I do occasionally, yes. I'm not a huge wildlife photographer, but when the opportunity arises, then yes, I do. And actually, I'd like to do a video about you can actually take a boat from Campbell River over to the mainland, and you can go up to some of the fjords there, and you can photograph grizzly bears. And I've done it a couple of times, and I'd like to do it again. Unfortunately, it's quite expensive. But yeah, I love photographing wildlife. That's not my main subject, but yeah, whenever the opportunity arises, yes.
Okay, Raymond Fitzpatrick. It's an interesting question. What was your best image 10 years ago from now?
Oh God.
Jesus Christ. Pass.
I don't know. Sorry. Yeah.
It's a difficult one just to spring on you, isn't it? Do you have an all-time favourite image from any time?
I have a number of images that I talk about a lot, and I guess they are my favorites because they have a bit of a story behind them. And actually, if you go to Simon Baxter's channel, he did a little piece with me there where I talked about a couple of images, and those are the two images that come straight to my mind. So if you haven't seen that, then those are a couple of my favorites. Yeah.
Okay, another one from John Drummond. Is landscape photography more popular in the UK than the US or other countries? So, is landscape photography more popular in the UK than the US or other countries? We did talk about this yesterday, didn't we? We did talk about this. We did say that, in my opinion, I might be blinkered by it, but I would say easily 90% of all vloggers that I know are all from the UK.
Yeah, which is very odd. Even the ones that don't live in the UK but are from the UK, like me.
Yeah.
I know landscape photography is extremely popular in the States, very much so. Canada, well, we just don't have the population, so it's popular, but it's people seem to be more into general nature photography here than just landscape photography.
Sure. Okay. Murray from Scotland's mountains. He still is a pest. He's a pest. Murray from Scotland's mountains. He was my guest from last week, by the way. Excellent photographer and a good mountain climber. Question. I bet you can't guess where he's from. Question. Are the midges worse in Canada or Scotland?
Well, Scotland, because we don't have midges here. But we do have mosquitoes and black flies, and they're just awful.
Yeah, and bears.
Well, the bears I can deal with. It's the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. God, they are just relentless. I think the mosquitoes are probably worse.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so who came up with the original story for the F4 videos? That's from Barbara Livieri.
We all did. We just winged it.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, we winged it, and it actually turned out not bad.
Another one from John Drummond. John, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's taking over. It's worse than bloody Thomas. Adam, what do you value? See, another question for you. What do you value in a vlogging camera? What do you use now and why? As short as you can. I'm using the Sony RX100 version 7. This is my third Sony RX camera. And the reason why I bought this one is because it has a mic jack, finally. It's an excellent camera for the size, and it's good for photography too. It's an expensive camera though. I think it cost me about $1,200 Canadian, which is pretty expensive for a point and shoot. But it's a really good camera, and I like the video quality. Yeah, I also use a DJI Osmo, but I haven't used it that much lately. They're waterproof, aren't they? How'd you get on with that?
No, they're not. You need a waterproof casing.
Right, okay. Dave Pierce, my very good friend Dave Pierce. Adam, I apologise, by the way. He's going to make me feel like an idiot now because I haven't mentioned this yet, and I should have. I apologise. From Dave Pierce. Dave, how you doing, my good friend? Adam has got a book out called Quiet Light. Was that his own project, or was he approached by a publisher? I should have mentioned your book, Adam. I do apologise.
Oh, that's okay. It was a project that I wanted to do for a very long time. What photographer doesn't want to have their own book? And I've been taking the images now for 25 something years, and finally it came to fruition. I actually approached Kozu Books, which are actually in the UK. Yeah. And they specialize in fine art photography books. So it was more of a passion project than anything. It's not a huge money maker or anything like that. I just really wanted to put together a book of my images. And I was pretty conservative with the number. I only printed 500 because I really didn't know how many I'd sell. And of course they sold out very fast. So we're printing another batch. So if you are interested, you can go to kozubooks.com and you can pre-order, and we're hoping that they'll be sending them out by August. It all really depends on what's going on. I mean, they're a business. They have the same problems as everybody else as they're having their employees in there and such. So
being completely honest then, if somebody out there could only afford to buy one book this year, would they buy yours or would they buy Tom's book? Whose book would they buy?
Well,
that wasn't a serious question, by the way. I can't believe you're taking that seriously.
Well, no, actually, it's a valid question, actually, because mine doesn't have any text in it. It's just a portfolio. If you want something a bit more and you want some stories behind the images, then I would probably go with Tom's. But I think he's sold out.
I was joking.
So. No, I'm serious. And actually, Tom's idea was something that I really wanted to do originally, but then I decided to go for a portfolio. But I think I am going to start working on another book where I'm actually going to talk more about the images, because that's something I'm really interested in. So
sure. Two very quick questions then. John Crean. Hi, John. Are you going to come over to Ireland in the future? Hang on a sec. Wait for this. Wait, there's more. Are you going to come over to Ireland in the future, Gary and Adam? I've got a question. Ireland.
I'd love to go to Ireland. Actually, I was supposed to go to Ireland this year, and for whatever reason, it was all organized, and then the guy bailed on me, and it just fell through. So I'd love to go to Ireland. There's lots of areas I'd love to go to. It's just time, you know.
Well, the answer for me is I probably would have been out there now. I've been obviously invited to go out by Dermot, Darren as well. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's a bit of a strange case, but I actually went to Ireland twice in my life. The very first time I went to Ireland was to go to court. This is genuine. It was to do with a company that I owned. I got off the boat in the morning, went to court, lost the case, came back to the UK on the very same boat. But
wow.
Yeah, I can't even begin to explain what it was. It was a something and nothing. But what we had to do in court, we had to go. So we knew we were going to lose to begin with. It was nothing. It was pennies, but we still had to go. And I actually wanted to go through the process myself. And I also wanted to go to Ireland. But that was the extent of my visit to Ireland. and another one, which is for another story. But I, in theory, I'm definitely going out to Ireland this year. Definitely.
I don't know if I'd hang out with those layabouts, though, Dermot and Darren. About that.
Shameless. Do you ever listen to their podcast?
Only when I'm on it. Actually, I really enjoy those guys. It's a lot of fun, and I haven't listened to many of their podcasts. Not because I don't want to. Usually, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, and of course, I haven't been doing much driving lately. So
yeah. I think I'm on their show next week actually as a guest, but massive fan of their show as well. Massive fan. They do it so naturally. Massive fan. So if anybody doesn't know about the photography podcast in Ireland, go and search for those guys. In actual fact, I'll leave a link down below. One last question, Adam. Blair Lindsay. So you are near Petrolia and Alveston area. Do you go across the border to Michigan? And if so, do you have any suggestions for photography? That's your last question. Milk that as much as you want.
Well, actually, no. I'm nowhere near Michigan. Michigan is on the other side of the country.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's 5,000 kilometers away.
Are you near Petrolia and Alveston then? Alvinston?
No, I've never heard of those places. I'm in BC, so we're on the west coast. Michigan's central, so that's close to Ontario.
Blair, this is Adam Gibbs. I'm not sure if it's a different Adam. This is Adam Gibbs, Blair. Oh, okay. Well, obviously she seems to think that that's where you're from.
No. I used to live in Ontario. I used to live in Toronto, but that was a long time ago. Like if I want to go and visit my younger brother, he lives in Nova Scotia. If I drove, it would take me 6 days to get there. So that's, Canada's a big country.
Wow. Wow, that just doesn't compute with us, does it?
He lives in Bedford, Nova Scotia, which is East Coast. It's closer to you guys actually than we are. So,
crikey, within like 8 to 10 hours at the longest, at the worst case scenario, we could be absolutely anywhere in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, if I drive up to North Vancouver Island, it takes about 4 or 5 hours.
Right, Adam, we're done, mate. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
How much did you say I owed you for that?
I'm surprised people are still here.
I don't know if they are, to be honest, because I've not even checked any of the comments. Well, that was a good 30 minutes, wasn't it? I've got here in brackets. Don't talk to him for any longer than 30 minutes. How long has it been?
I do tend to go on these little tangents, and start, drifting off. So thanks for bearing with me.
Much more exciting to listen to than me, I'm sure. Adam, I can let you go now, my good friend. Thank you very much indeed, and hopefully I will see you soon. And
yes, well, thanks for having me on, Gary.
That's it. No problem at all, mate. Thank you very much for being here. Honestly, I contact so many people. I don't know why, but most people just ignore my emails. I'm not quite sure what that's saying, but there you go. I don't care. I'll just keep trying. I like my little Sunday show. It's really, really good.
Well, I felt, to be honest with you, Gary, I felt really bad when I came to your studio, because you organised it so nicely, and it just, the sound. Unfortunately, the sound just didn't work out. So I felt bad, because it was a great event. I thought, oh, this is really cool.
This is what really annoys me, and hopefully you can justify this as well now. And this is a learning process for me as well. I had this great idea to do this show, this kind of talk show, and Adam obviously graciously agreed to be on the show. Bear in mind where Adam lives. This is a massive scoop for me. So Adam materialised at my studio, which is brilliant. I did it in front of a live audience. And hopefully you agree, Adam, it was really a good night, wasn't it? It was really well received by everybody that was there.
Yeah.
And it was a really good night. But as a learning process to me, when I started collating all the videos and started putting it together to put it as a video on YouTube, obviously, apart from the technical problem was Adam's mic didn't work, which is a bad thing when you've literally got two people talking to each other and one person's mic isn't working. It probably couldn't be any worse if you tried. But I very quickly realised that the banter we were having back and forth with people in the studio wasn't, or I felt didn't come across very well in YouTube world. So that was a massive learning process for me as well.
Yeah. I mean, don't worry about it. I mean, I had the same problem when I went on the Irish podcast. I didn't have my mic turned on, of course, and it was recording through my computer mic, and they wanted me to send them the video, and it just sounded awful. When the video is not that great, you can kind of live with it, but when audio is off, then it's really hard to watch something when audio is bad.
Yeah, but also those bums and wasters aren't as important as me, are they? But to be fair though, how many times have I apologised to you? I've apologised so many times.
Way too many. Way too many. I mean, it wasn't.
Right. Well, listen, Adam. Thanks for being here. I can't thank you enough. It's great, and we had a good catch up and a good chinwag yesterday as well. So good luck with obviously the rest of the year. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing the F4 bits and pieces that you've got coming out. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, and if anybody's interested in finding out what that's all about, we do have a website, which I can't even remember the name of it right now. But F4. If you look at any of the bottom of my videos, it'll take you to a link to the. You can sign up for the newsletter and find out what's going on. So.
All right, mate. Well, listen.
F4roadtrip.com. That's what it's called.
F4roadtrip.com. I'm sure it'll come up if they Google it anyway. That's it, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Blimey, it's been an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh.
I don't even know if people are still here. Maybe I'll go and check now, and it might not be anybody.
It says 200 watching now. So
hey, I tell you what, I'm getting more important every week, aren't I? Adam, you take care, my good friend. Give my love to Karen, and I'll hopefully see you soon. But I'm coming out to Canada, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, this stalking doesn't just stop here. Oh no. Coming out to Canada. All right, mate. All right. I'll speak to you in a bit, mate. Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers, then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right. Boom. Oh, thanks, Adam. Thank you very much indeed. He's such a fascinating bloke because he says it as it is. And yes, I am blowing smoke up his ass. I'm a massive fan, And I did say to him yesterday when I was having a catch up with him, is that I'm claiming braggers' rights because for as long as I can, which is probably only going to be a couple of months, I've got more subs than he has, and I'm sticking with that. Yes, come on. However, none of it means a jot if nobody watches your videos, and that's a true fact of life. You can have 500,000 subscribers, you can have 1 million subscribers, and I know people that have 1 million subscribers and they have like 1,000 people that watch their videos every time. So at the end of the day, the 1 million subscribers becomes completely worthless. So there you go. Right, guys, now the problem I've got is I've got the best of Facebook and critiquing your pictures, and I've kept you back for nearly 2 hours, and also the Prime Minister is on at 7 o'clock. So I don't know what to do. And also, I've just remembered, because I did the same thing with Murray last week. I've got some pictures of Adams to talk about as well. So look, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to stop filming now, and that's going to be the end of the show. But look, I'm going to come back on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, and I want to cover everything on here that I haven't already covered. Hopefully you guys will forgive me, but having such a big personality on as Adam, I wanted to get the most out of him. He's such a fascinating guy. I'm sure you won't mind, but look, 6 o'clock, I will come back on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock for another live show, and I'll literally have half an hour of a show. Let's look at Adam's pictures together, and let's talk about Adam's pictures, but let's also talk about, I want to critique your pictures, and I want to look at the best of Facebook as well. And I've also got 2 other features on there that I've done so much preparation for. Let's talk about them on Wednesday. Forgive me, but I can't take up any more of your time. So that's it. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you so much to Adam for being my guest tonight. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys will totally understand that I have to stop now because the Prime Minister's on at 7 o'clock here in the UK, and that of course means a lot to me. But I'm going to obviously not so much give up my time because I'm not doing anything anyway. But on Wednesday I'll come back. I promise you, everybody that sent in pictures for CCing, all the pictures that's on my Facebook page, we'll discuss them then. Thank you very much indeed, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.